Good evening, folks, and welcome to the hustings for the 2020-2021 UL Student Officer elections for Deputy President Welfare Officer. So, bit of housekeeping rules for all our candidates is that each candidate will have 2 minutes to speak. I'll indicate with a, I'll put my hand up at a 1 minute mark, just to let you know that there's 1 minute remaining, and then at the 2 minute mark, I'll put my hand up again, and then I will just have to cut across you, okay? Don't feel obliged that you have to fill the 2 minutes either. If you want to keep it short and sweet, that is also welcome. We have questions here that were sent in to us from the student population in UL, and yeah, they have some good questions for you. So we're going to start alphabetically, and we're just going to start with a bit of an introduction. So Jake, if you want to go first there with the introduction.
Yeah, am I good to go? Perfect. So hello, my name is Jake Moylan. I'm from Kilcumber Village, which is located a few kilometres outside of Clarny. I'm a third year student studying politics and sociology. I like to think of myself as a bubbly, approachable, outgoing guy who's motivated to get the job done. I want to tell you a little bit about my co-op placement. I did it with Enable Ireland at the Castleconnell Centre. My job was titled a Programme Instructor. Service users who availed of this service provided by their... Can you hear me? Oh, perfect. All right. They provided for intellectual and physical disabilities. I can say wholeheartedly that this was not work to me, but a place I had to go to have the chat, help people with the project they're at, and give them a helping hand at whatever I could do for them, and have a laugh while doing so. Helping these people every day just made me a happier person, and I had a sense of fulfillment. There was bonds and friendships created that will live on for a very long time. I love helping people. The idea of getting the opportunity to help students excites me. When I help someone, I seem much happier because I can see them, and I was the reason for their happiness. Look, I think my personality and motivation are the leading attributes as to why I should be your student welfare officer. That's it.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Jake. And so next is Mark.
Can you hear me okay? Right. How's it going? My name is Mark Fulham, and I'm a final year Law Plus student. Why should you vote for me? I thought about this question a lot. I tried to think of something funny, heartwarming, catchy, or whatever, and it just wasn't working for me. I realised why it wasn't working for me is because I'm not trying to sell you anything. Virtue signaling, smoke and mirrors, that's not what UL students want, need, or deserve. My manifesto is focused on issues hugely important to me and that I see impacting our welfare regularly. Excuse me. I've chosen 5 points to focus on because I don't want to leave the office and have endless empty promises. And unfortunately, most of those issues have actually affected me directly. But fortunately for you, if I am elected, I'll be able to say, look, I've been there, I know what you're going through, and I got out the other side. If I'm elected, open dialogue, non-judgmental support for students and for victims, and factual information are going to be the cornerstones of my policies. I want to build upon the work done by our council department whilst enabling students to be better able to deal with mental health struggles. For our stance on drugs, I want to expand and give more information available to students, but presented in a way that isn't just maybe HSE guidelines regurgitated and more bite-sized and relatable. For all victims of sexual assault, sexual harassment, discrimination on campus, I want to increase that support for you even more to support groups that I've mentioned, and I want to make everyone feel safer on campus. And I want to actively implement feedback from victims of these issues. And finally, lads, I just want to be approachable. I want to be a very active and approachable member of the UL Student Life team on campus, and I want you to be able to come to me easily with your issues. So, again, my name is Mark Fulham, and if you want a welfare officer that really cares and is really going to give you his best, give me your #1 vote this Thursday, because, as I'm just saying, a vote for me is a vote for experience, and a vote for me is a vote for somebody who gets it. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Mark. And up next is Naomi.
Hello all, my name is Naomi O'Mara and I'm running for your welfare officer. I'm in the course HBSS and I'm currently a 4th year. Throughout my degree, I've done a lot of volunteer opportunities. Since being a teenager, I've been involved with Limerick Youth Service. During my school years, I was a chairperson on the youth committee. So I'm very used to being part of committees and doing projects, and especially projects that help other people. I've been involved in a campaign called Limerick Be Heard, which is a collaboration between UL and Limerick Youth Service, and talks all about active citizenship in young people and wanting to inspire young people to use their voices and that they will be heard. With Limerick Youth Service, I've done a lot of work with young people. I've talked with young people with issues that they have, and I've been doing this for many years now, so I've a lot of experience in that. And I was a member of the Washington Ireland programme, class 2018, for service and leadership, where I was selected to go to Washington, DC to learn all about the different voluntary opportunities over there and how best we can perform back in our universities. I'm also my class rep, and I feel like throughout the years I've always represented my classmates in the issues that they see as very important. So I feel, with all this being said, I have a great deal of leadership and voluntary experience. But the reason I want to be a welfare officer is I really care about the well-being of my fellow students. A lot of the issues that get brought up with a welfare officer are issues that I've had to deal with in my own personal life, and I've had to come out the other side with. I've learned a lot about coping mechanisms for family issues and university issues, and I feel like I can share that with other students. I'm really passionate about helping people, and hope it comes across that I'd be honoured to represent my fellow students if they give me their first preference vote. Thank you.
That's great, Naomi. Thank you. And Pader, finally.
Yeah, all good. Perfect. Hi guys, so I'm Pader Collins. I'm a final year business student in UL. To give you two things about myself first, I'm really active. I spent a year in the Munster Academy, and I'm also a qualified Pilates teacher. Second of all, I'm a huge mental health advocate. This was seen in my Speak for 15 campaign that I started last year. And I guess a good few individuals reached out to me during my campaign, and I had to help them through what they were telling me. So I guess yeah, I'm pretty approachable, and a stand-up guy. You know yourself. So the two big initiatives I really want to bring in is, first, a darkness into light for UL students, and a day that works for them, because I really want to support the work at Pieta House. They're like a real close charity of mine, really close to our family's heart, and I just want to get out of the attitude of people just suddenly becoming an advocate for their mental health when they face a crisis, or when they know someone close to them when they face a crisis. Because I'm actually speaking about myself there. I just suddenly became an advocate when I knew someone that was in trouble, and I started all this. But I want people to prepare themselves for college, or for their mental health during college, because we will face it no matter what. It's inevitable. But I feel like I know there'll be a lot of kind of cutting down on funding and stuff, especially after this recession. But I feel like I could definitely make this happen. I raised over nearly $7,000 last year in my Speak for 15 campaign, working with the likes of Innocent Smoothie, Cook Medical, and Irish Life. And I even got support from Paula Carrington and Jamie Redknapp, a few of the boys, yourself. So I feel like I could definitely make this happen. So I promise you that. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Pader. So we're just going to get straight into the questions from the student body, and once again we'll be going from alphabetical order, but then you'll go to the end, so each candidate will have a time to speak first. So first question, so straight out of the gap, what's your plan of action for the accommodation crisis facing students at the University of Limerick and nationwide? And we're going to start with Mark.
Okay, can you hear me okay? I think what's very important is that we need to look at the likes of maybe the other universities that are refunding. For example, they're getting refunds at the moment in all university accommodation, but UL aren't. And there was a survey given out. The students said they were willing to sleep in a double room, but did they know that it was going to be a room that was originally built for one person, not built for two? So I think transparency is very important. I think clear communication with the regional tenancy boards on what students' rights are. And I think lobbying is very important, to be actively engaged with local ministers, TDs. For example, we had Owen O'Brien come down, take on board modern approaches to housing, and really listen to the students and what's being involved, and kind of, I think, follow the hardline stance that the SU has been taking at the moment, but maybe increase that. that we need to really represent our students to the best of our interests. So transparency, lobbying, clear communication, and communicating with TDs and ministers and other people in government at the time. And yeah, I think that's it.
Sorry now. Thank you, Mark. So same question to you, Naomi.
Yeah, I think a big part is we need to liaise with student life about refunds and bring up that it's being done in all the other universities. But as well as that, it's not just rent that needs to be refunded. It's a lot of house inspections, and the fees for those are being given out when students left in emergencies. And I feel like this shouldn't just be something that's done with the likes of currently students have to leave for emergencies. There may be a family emergency or any other reason that they had to leave. I feel like there needs to be an empathetic approach with student housing, that they'll understand and they'll be empathetic to this. Furthermore, a lot of people who are dealing with private landlords mightn't feel they have the same access to support. And I want to make sure I'm able to chat with students that liaising can be done to make sure that their landlords are going by tenancy law and there isn't anything strange going on. As well as that, a lot of students experiencing homelessness, there needs to be we need to have something in place that when they can come in and explain their situation, and that if there's nothing university can do, that we can bring it to third-party organizations that will be able to help students. But the issue of refunds, it is just lobbying and fighting for them to get their refunds back, and using the fact that it's being done in other universities that it's even unfair on these students. Thanks.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you, Naomi. Same question to you, Peter.
Yeah, all good. Yeah, obviously it's going to be a national crisis, and lobbying with other unions will be massive, and I definitely think I could bring that. I think short and sweet, but I think simply installments. It's only actually viable for access students, and that's only a couple of hundred, but it'll be massive this year to get it sorted. So I'll really be pushing for installments, similar to what we're doing with registration fees. If you have a legitimate reason, you're actually able to pay a certain amount here in February and then finish another installment in May and then the rest in June. So I feel like we really need to bring that for accommodation. Thank you.
Okay, cheers. And same question to you, Jake.
I think with the accommodation crisis at the moment, it's awful. It's awful at the moment between a number of factors. I definitely think we have to campaign for rent freezes. I do think a massive student protest is needed. I think the best way to do it is to liaise with other colleges and universities in Ireland, because it's not just a problem that UL have, it is a universal problem. I think we could probably expand the services, the free services for free legal aid that we currently have in UL to all students. Give them information about the PRTB, tenancy rights, everything, because I do think that is critical, and I don't think a lot of students know their rights in terms of accommodation. So yeah, that's what I pretty much have to say.
I had a technical glitch. Yeah, that's fantastic. Thank you, folks. So the next question is, so how do you plan on improving mental health services on campus? And so this one will start off with Naomi.
So I find with the campus growing numbers, there also needs to be more varied mental health activities. My suggestion is a mental health coffee morning that will be held once a week that I will be at, where this can be a place where students don't feel the need to be partaking in any structured activity. It isn't a meditation or something like that, because having a structured activity some students may not want to do that. So I feel like having a coffee morning where I'll be there once a week, where students can raise the issues that they feel are facing the university, and also where they can make suggestions on the type of events they want to see, because I want to recognize that I'm representing a lot of students, and I want to get the events that they think will help them. And then liaising with counselors as well, because sometimes appointments can take a few days to come about, and students might be able to get the appointment straight away when they need it. So ensuring that happens. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you. Same question to you, Peter.
Oh, good. Yeah. So yeah, to give some context at first, like last year I tried to make it more engaging, talking about our mental health. The whole Speak for 15 initiative was I actually challenged people to put their phones down for the 15 minutes of any Rugby World Cup game they watched to chat to a friend instead. And many people just think that, you know, it's just about putting phones away, but it's way deeper than that. It's actually talking up about our mental health. And I feel like those events that I held last year in student life before the Irish and Russia game, we just had a coffee morning as well, and just having a competition around Speak for 15 will be a really big initiative that I'll be pushing. And then the next point will be mental health workshops as well. And they have them already out there, but I feel like there needs to be more incentives. Like they issue certs out there with the assist programs, but I feel like, you know, it's actually really good to have on your LinkedIn or your CV. Like I'm kind of relating it to like a CPR course, you know, those courses you do in school. You do a course and get a cert after it, and I feel like, you know, we can't just shy away from mental health. You know, I think something like that would be a really good incentive. And yeah, thank you.
Great, thank you, Peter. Same question to you, Jake.
I think first things first, we'll have to lobby the national government for extra funding. The counselling service at the moment is completely underfunded, and I definitely think more money needs to be pumped into that. I would like to see an efficient I-grade system in place for people who suffer from mental health disorders. I think so they won't be consumed by the pressure of exams and whatever college life brings, you know, such as financial situation, accommodation, whatnot. I definitely think something has to be put in place, and I would suggest putting in a new wellness hub where it'll be central and they won't have to trek to the main building in order to get an I-grade or whatnot, and it'll be convenient. I definitely think drug harm reduction campaigns can actually go under mental health as well, because it obviously affects mental health and it is very important. Yeah, so that's how I'd tackle that.
Okay, that's great. And finally, same question to you, Mark.
Could you repeat the question? Sorry, just slightly the start of it I missed.
Yeah, so how do you plan on improving mental health services on campus?
Okay, perfect. I think, again, I've mentioned this previously, I think communication is going to be very important. Talk to the counselling department on what they need. Do they need more staffing? Do they need more counsellors in general? What do they need? I think funding is a clear one and staff is a clear one, but there could be something else that we're missing. So I think communication with them is very important. I think communication with students is very important. What do they feel is missing? What do they feel is lacking? Or what do they feel maybe we're focusing too much on and neglecting something else? As well as that, I think just open dialogue in general is vital. I think that we need to, we say there a lot, destigmatize. As in, anybody who knows me knows I'm very open about my mental health and whatever problems and struggles I've had. My friends thankfully are like that as well. And I think a lot of people are becoming more and more like that. I think the more we push more discussions about mental health and just like that will really improve. And then I think finally as well, we run a lot of workshops in UL. We can increase the workshops. But we could probably do them in maybe, if we could incentivize them a bit more. Pat made a good point. And also, I do think more informal events that students might feel under pressure to go to, or when they are there, they're a bit nervous, whatever. So yeah, I think communication, destigmatize, open dialogue, and more events and maybe informal. And that's that.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you, folks. So the next question is kind of a two-part question. So, so what are your thoughts on UL student life's drug policy, and how do you plan on tackling the rising trend of drug use amongst the students' population? So we are going to start with Pader on this one.
Yeah, so I don't have much to say here, but like it's a very catchy phrase down UCC, drug harm reduction. Just I feel like we need to promote the long-term effects more, to be honest. I know over the last 2 years we've been promoting like how to consume drugs more safely, but I think we're showing that too much, because I feel like that's incentivizing people actually to try it out. And but I feel like we just need to highlight the longer term effects more, in my opinion, because it's very hard to change the drug culture. That won't change at all. But I feel like we really need to highlight the longer term effects. So thanks.
Okay, thank you, Peter. Same question to you, Jake.
So the drug policy UL has is fair enough. Drugs are illegal and they are toxic to your body. As you know, UL and Student Life Services are actually a complete separate body. And I do think that we do need to tackle drugs a lot more harsher. But I think the way to do that as a liberal college is to introduce, like to have a lot of drug harm reduction campaigns, obviously. And I was thinking of having maybe a video for all incoming students, maybe a doctor explaining all the negative consequences of taking drugs. And I was also thinking of maybe getting a third party with expertise in this area, previous expertise that have been at festivals and things and are known to be professionals at it, to come in on busy weeks that like they're hectic with people taking drugs, like Charity Week, where they can set up a drug testing device and people can go in and test it out just so they're informed and they can make correct decisions about it. I know it will be tough, but I think it'd be a good step forward. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And same question to you, Mark.
I think that the current US student life drug policy is quite a fair and realistic one. You know, they recognise that drugs are illegal. We don't condone them, but we recognise that, you know, drugs are a part of our life nowadays. I've noticed in the whole campaign and what's going around colleges a lot is there's drug harm reduction, and I do think the long-term side effects need to be discussed a lot more. I took a lot of drugs in first and second year. I didn't know about the long-term side effects. Some of them I have today, and I didn't know about that, and I wish I did. And I think we need to rediscuss other things, like what happens if you get caught with X on you, what happens, the legal ramifications. We need to push those a bit more. And throughout the campaign as well, and from talking to friends and people, we do hear drug testing thrown around, but it's a great idea, but it's just not feasible. It's not legal. It's unfortunately in the Republic of Ireland, we can't do that. And so I think we need to really just focus on informing people on what is going to happen, because look, we can't test your drugs for you. Unfortunately, we can't. But we can tell you that if you take too much ketamine, it can tick in the wall of your bladder, and in 5 years you will have problems, or your sinuses will be in bits. So I do think we need to be pragmatic. I think the policy we have in place is quite fair. And I think we just need to have a lot more open dialogue and be a lot more serious and realistic about what actually happens to your body and your mental health. And that's my stance.
Okay, and finally to you, Naomi.
So the first thing I see myself doing this role, this isn't a topic I'm the most educated on. So I feel like having a group from students saying what type of facility they would like in place and how we could promote more drug safety. I think we can do this through drug safety workshops, to echo what everyone else is saying, that in the UL policy, it is saying that drug safety should be promoted. But something else I want to raise is from hearing from people who dealt with Narcotics Anonymous. A big part that stops people from attending Narcotics Anonymous is the religious impact of it. So when you attend the meeting, they usually begin with a prayer, and there's a big religious tie-in with it. So I think it'd be very important to have a university Narcotics Anonymous where students will feel they have a safe place to discuss these issues with people who understand them, because attending a traditional one could be with older adults who've not had the same experience as them, and making sure it's a place where they won't feel judged for being students and will be able to support them. Thank you.
Great. That one was a bit of a stickler, to be honest. Okay, so the next question is, what do you think will make you stand out from previous welfare officers? So we'll start with you, Jake, on this one.
What I think will make me stand out from other welfare officers is my enthusiasm for change, what I desire, what I'm motivated to do. I want to do the most I can for everyone, and I think that's apparent when I show up my demeanor. And I think my personality is just suited to the role, and I think I just have a lot of ideas that I'd like to bring. I'll leave it there.
Okay, perfect. Same question to you, Mark.
I think that what would make me stand out from other welfare officers are nearly everything that I'm talking about. I'm speaking from experience, or somebody very close to me has been impacted by it. I'm very open about my experiences. I've been through high grades. I've suffered with drugs. I've suffered with my mental health. I've overdosed. And I'm not afraid to openly say, look, I have been there and I have done it. And, you know, come to me if you need a hand. I think I'm a very determined person. Anybody who knows me knows I don't shut up. And, you know, if I've got a point to make, I won't back down. So I feel like if I have a point to make on a student's behalf, whether Des Fitzgerald is going to have my job or something, I will stand my ground to the end. And so, yeah, I think I won't back down. I'm hardworking. I have been through it. And I have no problem openly talking about it, which I think we need a lot more of today. And yeah, that's all I have to say.
Great, thank you. And to you, Naomi?
Yes, to echo what other people are saying, a lot of the jobs a welfare officer needs to do are things I've dealt with in my own life. I've experienced a landlord selling a house while living in it and trying to find something else. I've experienced very close people to me having to deal with addiction and being the supporting person to help them through that. And I've dealt with a lot for my own mental health. But these aren't the things that I feel like I want to define me. I've been volunteering since I was 14 years old, and I've done a lot. I've been on lots of committees, and I've done lots of leadership roles. And I felt like that's how I define myself, is through these opportunities. And then I have one thing on my manifesto that I am so passionate about, and that is period products throughout the university. So I spoke on the People's Debate on Vincent Brown, talking about how I want period products to be accessible to everyone, and I want to bring that to all of the co-ed and female bathrooms on the university to make our campus a campus that does not support period poverty, and to help all of our students. I really hope my experience and all the opportunities I've done will.
Great, sorry, I had a bit of a lag there. And then, and finally, Patter.
Yeah, I say you're sick of myself talking about it now, but I really can make things happen. As I said, I had a really close friend of mine who kind of had a very bad crisis, and my life flipped it on its head, but I flipped it over again and turned it to a good cause, and I feel like I could really make things happen. Like I raised over $6,000 last year, and I really want to push darkness into light. I think it'd be so cool to have, and I just feel like I could really make things happen. I like, you know, have a really good proven track record. I've taught to numerous schools and businesses. As I said, I worked with Innocence Moody, Cook Medical, Irish Life. I taught to the Limerick City and County Council. Like, I'm really passionate about my job, about mental health. I feel like I could really help you guys out. Like, I was on the phone to Marion Kinsella and Lucy Smith, both in the counselling services in UL, and they think I could really bring these initiatives in. And I really want to improve the UL buddy system as well. Actually, it's only 2 out of 6 faculties have it. It's basically a mentoring system where a new student teams up with an existing student, and I feel like that'll be really important to include next year, especially with the COVID-19 and the integration of college. I feel like we'll really need to help out each other instead of looking into the counselling services. But I feel I can really make these things happen. So, yeah, thanks.
Right, thank you, Patter. We're on to our final question of the evening before closing statements. So, what are your plans for safeguarding students who have experienced sexual harassment or sexual violence? Okay, and we'll start off with you, Mark.
Something that I mentioned in my manifesto, and after speaking to many people close to me who've been impacted by this, they they said that a support group is what I was hearing a lot, somewhere to go and to feel comfortable and to talk to. I think that would be a brilliant idea. I think we do have the facilities in place to put that in, and you'll give a greater support network for those who are impacted. I had a few people mention consent classes to me. I think with consent classes, I think the thing about these issues, it's not a one size fits all. So what I would propose would be an opt-out consent classes for all incoming first years. So that way, if somebody, you never want the victim of these situations to be pushed into that kind of situation where they could be very uncomfortable and it could be triggering. So I think opt-out would make it a lot easier to facilitate, and it'd be very seamless and easy to opt out of it. And I think we could also look into, there's been things in UCC trial, bystander intervention, where workshops have been held and they've had great success by now. It's done by blended learning now. And it's just how to safely intervene in these kind of, when you witness these things going on around you and on campus, and to lobby towards a zero tolerance stance towards sexual harassment or violence or whatever on campus. So yeah, I think a greater support network, and I think opt-out consent classes, and then also bystander intervention. And also I've mentioned in my manifesto, free self-defense classes for anybody who would like to avail of it, and increase security on campus as well. And yeah, that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Mark. To you, Naomi?
Yeah, I feel like a support group is an amazing idea, but I'm suggesting we break up the support group because everybody has different experiences. That maybe be an opportunity to have support group for survivors, a support group for people who come from child abuse, a support group for maybe less violent sexual harassment such as slut shaming and catcalling, and a support group specifically for men. To echo this, I also feel like there needs to be consent workshops for women. A lot of universities are putting a great emphasis on doing the consent workshops, but I don't like that a lot of time consent workshops are being targeted towards men, when men can also be the victims of sexual harassment, and that needs to be highlighted. I also want to look into having a safe taxi driver scheme where Student Life will have a list of taxi drivers who are reliable, and there can be a bursary available to, if someone feels they cannot get home safe from a night out or feels like they're not safe getting a taxi, that we will have numbers of drivers that we trust that we can distribute to students. In regards to sexual harassment such as catcalling, I feel if someone is proven to be doing things like this, they should be suspended from Student Life events, such as not being allowed to attend events in the courtyard and having their stable sticker removed. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Naomi. So, Pader?
Yeah, so I'll be making a big push for consent workshops as well. It was very successful last year. James Kerr, who's the head of the Arts Entries course, he assigned his first few tutorials in the first semester last year to consent workshops, and over 500 first years took part, so that was a real good success. So I'll definitely look to implement that this year. I'll also look to the support groups as a really good idea as well, and just you'd be surprised the amount you learn from other people. So I'll definitely be pushing those. Especially, I think we need more space as well in the health unit, in the Student Life building as well, for not just for counselling, I mean for mental health, but obviously for sexual health issues too. So more counselling services like that will be really good. And yeah, they're the main two options for me that I really want to push. Thank you.
Right, thank you, Pader. And Jake, finally.
So consent workshops was the main point in my manifesto as well. And myself and Chelsea Joyce, the communities candidate, actually were trying to reach out to the Drama Society to see if they do a consent workshop and do a out of play that's very graphical and that will hit home with incoming students and be made accessible and available to all students in UL. I do think a service completely in the UL New Wellness Hub could be designated for this, a counselling service. I don't think a big focus group would be great for something that's so personal with this issue. So I think a service specified for that particular issue would definitely be great. Someone they could go to, someone that's trustworthy, someone that will listen to them and will be professional and be able to tell them and give them advice and whatnot. I definitely think a sexual health officer should be appointed, and I think it'd be very beneficial to all students who've experienced this trauma. And that's it. Thank you.
Okay, folks. Thank you to all the candidates for answering the questions. We had a few sticky ones there. And thank you to the students that sent them all in. So now we're just going to go to closing remarks. So I suppose this is an opportunity to say why people should vote for you. So I'll just go kind of in random order here as I see you on the screen. You'll have roughly about 1.5 minutes. Okay, just Patter, you can go first there.
Yeah, just to reiterate what I really want to bring in, especially this year. First is the Darkness into Light walk. Next would be the mental health workshops as well, and pushing for more counselling space in the student life building. As I said, I was talking to Marion Kinsella and Lucy Smith, because there is enough staff there. There's plenty of staff, but there's actually not enough space in the unit at all, which shouldn't be the case. Mental health will be massive next year, so we need to expect for the worst. Especially with COVID-19 as well, the integration back into college, I really want to emphasize the buddy mentoring system too. I feel like there needs to be more incentives for the mentors to take part. Counselling services will be up to all, but I feel like if we look at each other, we'll help each other out. We really need that community aspect in our college life. And yeah, that's all for me. Thank you.
Okay, Grant and Naomi.
So I've been gathering leadership and welfare experience since I was 14 years old, as I've explained. I've been involved in loads of different projects that I feel have made me capable for this job. I feel like what I've outlined in my manifesto are all issues that I feel so passionate about, especially the period product access. And an issue I felt like I didn't get to talk about, but I want to raise here, is more information for UL students on Erasmus. This is something that I'm going to put a very large emphasis on, making sure that there's someone on campus who can act on behalf of students who are on Erasmus, and even in situations such as now, making sure these students get home safely and the students being looked after, UL students are being looked after no matter where they are. I'm very passionate about helping people. I really hope it shows to all the different projects I've done, and I really hope I'm trusted to be the welfare officer. Thank you.
Okay, great. And Jake?
Look, UL students are sick of being profited out of. A vote for me, I'm going to fight for everything against you and against the executive, more or less. I'm well aware of what's going on, and the accommodation crisis at the moment, where people have had shared occupancy, we got a room designed for single occupancy, is an absolute joke, and I will definitely fight for that. I have like a rent a bike scheme where you can go in and rent out a bike for a day and bring it back. You just give in your UL card. I'm going to bring that in. I'm also going to get like a qualified nutritionist to come in to make affordable plans, which can be suitable to like sanctuary students as well. It'll apply to them. I'll try and make as many as I possibly can. I think I have more ideas like to do relationship workshops, where like so many times we see first year students who don't interact with their housemates. They sit in the room and they don't interact. They don't want to integrate. So them workshops are going to be made maybe week 2, week 3 if elected, and I will try and help them give them tips on how to integrate and to make friendships and whatnot. Yeah, definitely. Like a vote for me, I will definitely fight for everything to the last. Thanks very much.
Right. Thank you, Jake. And finally, Mark.
Yeah, I think I'm someone who gets very stuck in. If you happen to be passing by the stables Tuesday at Rag, you saw me getting topless and getting shaved for charity. I'm not afraid to put my body on the line and get stuck in. I'm a very hardworking person. I like to believe that I'm quite approachable, and I like to think I'm compassionate. And in this job, I do feel like it's something I've wanted since I was in 6th year. The incumbent, when I started in 1st year, the welfare officer was Keelan. I remember sharing his video on Facebook and being blown away, and I was like, wow, that's something I want to do. I've wanted this job for a long time because I know how it feels to really feel like you're at rock bottom and you've nowhere to go, and welfare did really help me. And if I could help 5 UL students, 1 UL student, 500 UL students, that would be amazing. I can't stress how much I just would really love to be given that opportunity. So yeah, as I said earlier, a vote for me is a vote for experience, and a vote for me is somebody who gets this. So if you could give me your number 1 vote on Thursday, I promise you I will not let you down. Thank you very much.
Right, folks, this drags Hustings to an end for Deputy President Welfare Officer. Congratulations and well done to all the candidates.